And now Kutztown University Athletics and KUR present to you this week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. This weekly radio program brings to you an in-depth look at the week in sports around campus, including game highlights, player and coach interviews, and an analysis of recent sporting events. Live on campus, let's send it to our host, Adam Dobrowolski.
And good afternoon, everyone. As well, it's raining outside, not exactly the most beautiful day of the year, but we still have plenty of things to talk about, just like it's just turning on another week, another great time here for Golden Bear Athletics overall. We'll be actually hearing from two PSAC athletes of the week. We had three this week, one in golf, one in women's soccer, and one in field hockey. So great week for Golden Bear Athletics, and there's still some things churning on here for some of the other sports, football, volleyball, and such, cross country as well, tennis. So we'll talk about all those things over the next hour here as we begin the show off how we usually do with KU football. The Golden Bears had so far some tough luck en route to an 0-4 start, losing by 1 point in two different road games against Clarion in overtime and then against Westchester the previous week. However, the Golden Bears may have had their toughest challenge of the year this past week at home, Family Day against Slippery Rock, a team that was leading the PSAC offensively in terms of yards and really had a dynamic no-huddle offense that could run and could pass. And in terms of the matchups, that really challenging the Golden Bears the most, especially with injuries to the defensive backfield. No Landstein Jr., no Alex Dinolfi in Saturday's game against the Rock. So let's start things off from University Field as the Golden Bears 0-4, Slippery Rock 3-1 in a PSAC crossover game. And for the Rock, it was all about their big plays offensively. They've been doing it all year. In fact, they already hung 50-plus points on three different occasions, including a pair of 58-point games. And they would get things started off on the first play from scrimmage. They go with the flea flicker deep down the field, and it's caught by John Shademan. I believe it was Tajay Bryant. He was nearly just there, maybe a fingertip or two away from defending the pass and knocking it down. But the catch made by Shademan to the 8-yard line. The Rock quickly, no huddle, rushes up next play.
They throw a bubble screen, and on the second play, it's a touchdown for Jamar Dutrell. 2 plays, 55 yards, 6-0 Slippery Rock, no huddle.
And that, just like that, they do it in 24 seconds. That's the dynamic nature of the Slippery Rock offense. Extra point, good, 7-0. The Rock with the lead. A few 3-and-out possessions exchanged back and forth. Kutztown had a punt down to their own 1-yard line, get a nice 20-yard pass to get a first down, but next series they would have to punt the ball. So Slippery Rock gets the ball, get the ball at their own 38-yard line. They key it up with a big 22-yard pass play from Nigel Barksdale, the quarterback, to Robert Joyce. 22 yards, got it down into the red zone. And then a few plays later, in fact, 3 plays later, a run to Teddy Blakeman.
Blakeman up the middle with a big hole touchdown. Again, a little bit of a read option play to Blakeman. Teddy Blakeman scores, and it's 13-0.
Extra point good, so now 14-0. SRU with the lead. Now, on the next Kutztown drive, they would have a pass intercepted in Rock territory. Alec Warner trying to go down the field, but Derek Morgan with the interception at the 14-yard line. Tony Papley in on the hurry to kind of force the throw of Warner a bit quickly. The Rock would punt after that, and as things go a little bit back and forth into the second quarter, KU had a chance for a touchdown called back on a holding. That was a touchdown pass to Cody Reed, 45 yards, but again, that was called back. KU would convert on a 3rd and 20. Warner to Brett Fox, 21 yards and a first down. Later on now, a goal-to-go situation. 1st and goal at the 6. A pass to Sean Seif for 2 yards, but after that, the Rock holding on the next 2 plays, forcing incomplete passes. Down 14-0. Do you go with the touchdown? Do you go with the field goal? Head coach Drew Fulmer decides to send on Andrew Deutsch for a 21-yard field goal.
The offensive players want to go. The coach wants 3. Well, Andrew Deutsch will come on for the field goal. Bears unable to take advantage of a couple of conduct penalties by the Rock, but the field goal is good.
That makes it 14-3 early in the second quarter. On the next drive, second play in this drive, it's the Slippery Rock offense with one of two back-breaking plays. They kind of go short and intermediate with these two plays in question, but Jamar Dutrell, just unbelievable in the first half for the Rocky. Makes a catch about 10 or 15 yards down the field and gets some yak going here.
Rock has been going backward a lot the last two series. Barksdale steps up in the pocket, has a receiver wide open at the 46-yard line is Dutrell. Running to the far side 40, 35, 30. Looking for a block to the 20, to the 15, 10, 5. They will say he stepped out of bounds. No, the Bears thought he did. He did not. And it's a touchdown for Slippery Rock and Jamar Dutrell.
Extra point good from Slippery Rock. The score now 21-3 in favor of visiting SRU. It was not just those back-breaking plays offensively, but also the mistakes by Kutztown offensively. Next drive, Alec Warner has a pass intercepted. The ball goes down to the Kutztown 35-yard line, and KU able to hold here, force a 35-yard field goal from Mike Wanuskis. It's good, 24-3 the score. However, on the next Slippery Rock drive, that second back-breaking play, Kutztown in that first half, although down by a few possessions, could have been a play here or there from getting it back into a game. When you have plays like this from Jamar Dutrell, you take the win out of the Golden Bears.
Renshaw, redshirt sophomore from Monessen. Here's Dutrell again up that far side. Break the tackle, look out. 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Nobody for the Bears will catch him. Third touchdown catch of the day for Jamar Dutrell.
It was just a simple screen, but this man, Jamar Dutrell, knows how to follow his blockers, kind of sets up the defenders, did a great job with that, and the SRU receivers doing a great job blocking as well. 75 yards for that touchdown, made it 31-3, and Slippery Rock able to cruise from there. KU, though, did get on the board late in the game, thanks to a fourth quarter run, as they're able to force a turnover deep in Rock territory, and then Daryl Scott finishes it up for KU.
The tailback in the eye is Daryl Scott. Running up the middle, lowers the shoulder to the goal line. Touchdown, Golden Bears.
So there's the first touchdown run of the year for Daryl Scott. Extra point from Andrew Deutsch, good. But the final score in this one, Slippery Rock 58, Kutztown 10. The most complete performance of the year by a team that put up their fourth 50-point game in 5 tries this season. And, well, not a surprise. The one time they didn't put up 50 was their one loss of the season. So they're 4-1. KU, some with tough luck, 0-5 on the season. But you look at the efficiency of the offense running and passing. Nigel Barksdale, 13 of 19, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Zach Newsock, the backup, came in, added in a $116 on 8 passes and a touchdown. Running-wise, they're able to spread it around with guys like Shamar Green, Jimmy Zubik, Teddy Blakeman, Brett Crenshaw, and Nigel Barksdale, who can run the ball. Didn't have to do much in terms of that. He was limited to 4 net yards rushing, but did have a touchdown run. For KU, though, they still had some standouts on defense, as they were able to get a lot of negative plays from Slippery Rock, which is a good sign. This dynamic offense, if you can get negative plays against them, it should be able to trickle down later on in the year. Zach Greenwald had 8 total tackles, 5.5 of them for a loss, 2 sacks. Sam Dixon-Dugan, another week where he was just strong, being able to tackle the runners. 10 tackles for him, 3 for a loss, and 1 sack. And KU actually, as a team, put together, I believe, a total of 16 or 17 tackles for a loss against Slippery Rock. So, albeit a game in which Slippery Rock did able to dominate the Golden Bears, KU still having signs of good things that can trickle down later on into the season. At this time, we bring on head coach Drew Fulmer for the Golden Bears. And I know, Coach, this was a tough game. The offense made mistakes that shortened the field for the Slippery Rock offense, but just some of those plays. Talking about for Jamar Dutrell, did a great job following his blockers. The blockers got down the field. He was able to make some of those long plays that kind of took the wind out of the game. Your thoughts first on those big plays, what they can kind of do to kind of really take the wind out of the sails, especially early in the game.
Well, that's exactly it. Anytime you can make a big play as an offense or a defense, it really affects the opponent big time. And they did a great job. Obviously, they're a talented football team in making those big plays. We've got to do a better job in limiting the big plays on defense, and we've got to create a lot more big plays on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, you can kind of clearly tell what their game plan was. You guys have had some injuries in the secondary. First play from scrimmage, they go flea flicker down the field, and I believe it was Tajay Bryant who was maybe within like a few fingertips or so from defending that pass, but they're able to complete that flea flicker. But injuries are continuing now a concern for you in the defensive backfield. What are some of the things that you and the position coaches are working on to not just try and get some of those guys healthy, but for those who may have to be on the field who are pressed for time without the experience, get them to quickly mix in with that defense?
Well, and that's exactly what it is. They've got to adapt quickly. There's not a lot of time, and it's the next man up, whatever the position group happens to be. And we have some injuries right now in the secondary, but that's part of the game. It's a contact sport. It's a collision sport. We know it, and our kids know it. Our guys know it, and they're working hard to prepare, and the coaches are working hard to get everybody caught up in terms of where they need to be going into this weekend's game.
Now, in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, there are no games off, but it is a good matchup this upcoming week against Cheney for your defensive backfield in the sake of they run the triple option. They're a lot more run-heavy than pass-heavy, so while they might go down the field passing-wise a few times, it's not going to be nearly as much against Slippery Rock. So do you kind of feel in that sense that you kind of get a little bit of a break in terms of where the cards fall, that a week after suffering a few more injuries, that is a little bit more of a run-heavy offense, you can focus a little bit more on the front seven, putting the pressure on the Cheney offense?
Well, they are drastically different, but the other thing is, too, they're an option football team, which is never fun to prepare for because it forces you to play alignment, assignment, 100% every time football. And it's something that we're working hard this week because the secondary does play a part in stopping the run, as strange as that may sound. So it's going to take all 11 out there, but hopefully that does help us, that it is a more run-oriented attack this week. But they're going to take their shots. They're going to take their shots down the field. They're going to take their chances and throw the ball. So it's not like we're geared up to stop one thing. We got to be able to play a complete game.
Now, back a little bit to the Slippery Rock game. We kind of talked about it last week. Their dynamic ability offensively, where they can run and they can pass, but they were also able to create pressure with their front seven defensively. What are some of the adjustments, if any, that you've made to the offensive line to make sure that the negative plays are minimized in terms of the front seven pressure from Cheney?
Well, the big thing is continue to develop. We've got some young guys up front, and again, they're getting better every single week, and we've got to continue to improve every day of practice. We're going to continue. We're not going to change schemes because that's not going to help our guys in terms of trying to learn something different. We've got to get better at the schemes that we have in place and the things that we do, and we just got to try to find a way to put those offensive linemen and the quarterback in a position to be successful.
There are reasons for the defense to be confident upcoming this Saturday despite the 58-point game, because you had the ability to create some negative plays with sacks and tackles for loss where you're able to get into their backfield when they were trying to run the ball. Guys like Zach Greenwald, Sam Dixon, Dugan came in, but you kind of had a long list of players who were able to get tackles for the loss, whether it was some of the guys in the secondary, like an English PA who may come up big, being able to seal off the edge. He had a tackle for a loss, able to get some other guys in terms of the linebacking core and defensive line as well. Those guys, it seems like they're continuing to, even when there are struggles, mix in some really strong plays on the defensive side. Really talk about how those guys, it might not show in terms of the record, but defensively it looks like they are continuing to come together.
There's no question. I think at different points in every game this year, I think we've played very good defense. And the big thing we continue to work with our defense and our offense as well on is trying to execute at a consistent level, because that's what one of our issues is right now. Is we're just not consistent on either side of the football and in special teams. And good football teams are consistent in everything they do. So there's been very bright spots a lot of times with that defense, and in particular the front six, front seven. We gotta continue to get it going all the time, not some of the time.
Now, the only two games that really got away from you in the sense of the scoreboard were the games against Cal and Slippery Rock, and at least in my opinion, one of the big keys was those two teams were able to get on you early, score multiple touchdowns early in the game, and really to look at it, we've talked about it, whether it's television or radio, to avoid the turnover. So that's obviously going to be key to make sure Cheney doesn't get out early. But how important do you think it is on the flip side maybe to attack them early and try and get that touchdown or maybe two early in the game where you force a team on the road, a team that is also looking for its first win, to kind of put the pressure on them to maybe get out of their comfort zone and maybe get a little bit too much away from the read option if they're down by multiple scores?
Well, I think it would be in a huge advantage for us if we could go out there and jump on them early. And that doesn't matter who you're playing, but I think especially this week, it just gets some confidence going. And honestly, the other thing too is maybe get our crowd into the game because we are playing at home, and try to get some momentum going that way. That's certainly something that we're trying to make a point of emphasis, is starting fast, coming out of the gate, and getting on top of them so we're not playing from behind.
Not 100% sure what the weather is going to be like, but with today with the rain, usually at least for me, growing up or watching or even playing sports, especially football, it was kind of I like these rainy days to even just go out and get practice. It kind of gets you more physical and ready, especially when a team runs the ball. But if the weather is bad on Saturday, do you feel that's going to have any impact on the game at all?
Well, it depends on the severity of the weather. But the weather from time to time will have an impact on the game. It may change some of your thought process. But for the most part, as long as it's like it is today, it shouldn't be too big of a deal because we practice in it, they practice in it, and that's always part of the deal when you're playing football in the Northeast. When you get to the middle of October and beyond, you've got to be ready for some of the drastic weather changes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything like last week where we had temperatures in the 70s or 80s even around the area.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and that we'll actually talk about that later on in the show, as that had an impact on the recent cross-country meet over in Bethlehem, PA at Lehigh. But thank you once again, Head Coach Drew Fulmer. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Again, we'll have coverage of that streaming here on KUR this Saturday. Kickoff comes at 1:05 as the Golden Bears host the Cheney Wolves. We'll step off to a quick break here on the Golden Bear Beat, but make sure to stay tuned here as we'll be hearing from Jamie Koenig of the field hockey team and also talk a little bit more about some of the PSAC athletes of the week. Stay tuned here on KUR. And welcome back here on the Golden Bear Beat. Adam Dobrovolsky, your host, as we thank you once again, Head Coach Drew Fulmer, for coming on as we talked KU football, as they will try and get their first win of the season this Saturday against Cheney. KU, so far their first 5 opponents, having a strength of schedule of 15-5 outside of the wins against Kutztown. Cheney, their strength of schedule for their opponents, 9-11. They faced some strong teams and some other teams that were just able to squeak out victories against the Wolves teams that were struggling. But we move on forward now to KU field hockey, where strength of schedule always a concern because it's such a deep conference in Division II field hockey in the PSAC. Kutztown split their first 2 games at home, Slippery Rock and IUP. They were on the road, an early Saturday morning game at Mercyhurst for the Lakers' homecoming game. And this was a game where KU showed their resiliency. A lot of pride for head coach Marcy Schuing and crew. The Golden Bears have had struggles here or there when they've gotten down to get those quick answer goals to keep the momentum in their favor. Well, down 2-0 into the 30th minute of the game, Jamie Koenig gets her first goal of the season, received a pass from left to right from Anna Boehm, and KU made it a 2-1 game. Erin Reynolds would get a penalty stroke goal just 2 minutes and 17 seconds later, so it's a 2-2 ball game at the half. But in the second half, things would get a lot more interesting. Megan Smith with a goal for Mercyhurst made it 3-2. Koenig comes back, though, her second goal of the match. Got the assist from Anna Boehm on a loose ball across the crease in the 44th minute. It's a tie ball game now at 3. Hurst would come back in the 52nd minute. Another goal made it 4-3, but Erin Danner with the goal in the 57th minute. Loose ball in front of the crease. Her 4th goal of the season. And then just a minute later, in fact, to be more accurate, 54 seconds later, Anna Boehm from the left, pass to the right, Jamie Koenig, her 3rd goal of the game. It's a hat trick. KU wins 5-4 against Mercyhurst. Head coach Marcy Schuing talked about that win for KU, a big one on the road.
I think we were ready because we had the whole week off, so I think it gave them the full week to get amped for the game on Saturday, which is the same case with this week with Bloomsburg. They have the whole week to prepare just for this game, so it gives them a good rest, but it also gets them just to focus on that game. And really, we worked on our fitness, like I said, all week, and I think that was the difference.
And obviously, a big difference was from Jamie Koenig. Did not have a goal coming into this game. A lot of frustrations getting so close, but the offense is starting to open up more, especially with Anna Boehm back, Courtney Uberoth back from injury as well. That's going to be your front line with Jamie Koenig moving forward. And with 3 goals in this game against Mercyhurst, things are looking up. But Coach talked about the relief of being able to get one of your key players on the board in terms of goals.
That was definitely something we, when you don't talk about a no-hitter, like we tried not to talk about Jamie not scoring, and we tried to just focus on giving her things to do to be able to score instead of saying, Jamie, you really need to put one in. She has 4 assists this season too, which is obviously great, but I really think that move out to the right outside and her and Anna just getting a couple games under their belt together now, that's just the beginning, I think, of what you're going to see this season between the two of them.
For the Golden Bears, the victory puts them to 5-4 on the season. They are now 2-1 in the PSAC. But congratulations to Jamie Koenig, named PSAC Athlete of the Week in field hockey, as she gets her first 3 goals of the season. This after playing only 2 games last year due to an ACL injury. So a great story here brewing for Koenig. This could be the start of a real strong run, not just for her, but perhaps for the Golden Bears offense. But we did want to hear from her. So earlier this week, we had the very great, helpful Imani Ferguson of the Golden Bear Network sit down with her former teammate. That's right, Imani, a former KU field hockey player here for 3 years. And Imani sat down and talked to Jamie about, obviously, the strong game against Mercyhurst, her return from an ACL injury, and much more.
Thanks, Adam. Imani Ferguson here with Jamie Koenig from Field Hockey. So, Jamie, tell me about yourself. Why did you decide to come here out of all the schools that were probably recruiting you for field hockey? What was attracting you to Kutztown?
When I came here, I really liked, first, the campus. I loved the setup of the campus, and the team. When I met the team at first, they made me feel really welcome. I really enjoyed Betty Wesner as a coach. I just felt like the atmosphere is the type of team I wanted to be on. Okay, so tell me about anything outside of field hockey. What's your major? What are you going to major in? What are you going to do after school? I'm a dual major of special and elementary education. I obviously plan to be a teacher. Do you want to work around in Pennsylvania? Do you want to work, where do you plan on working? With the way the teaching jobs are, I plan to work wherever I can get a job, basically. Yeah. But staying close to home would be an important factor to me because I value family. So for field hockey, what drew you to field hockey? Did your mom encourage you to play field hockey, or was it just your observation of watching older girls play? Actually, it was one of my teachers in middle school that actually I played soccer my entire life, and she's like, you should try this sport. It's similar to soccer, and you're aggressive, so it would be a perfect sport for you to try. So that's kind of what got me into it.
Was it difficult for you at first to adjust? You know, you can't hit your feet. You can't let the ball hit your feet. So was it difficult for you?
Actually, not really. I adapted to it really well. I was playing varsity my first year, so I didn't have any difficulties with that.
I know that you had an injury last year with your ACL, and you previously had an injury in high school. Tell me what mentality you took to overcome this injury again this year.
Since it happened to me before, I wasn't going to let an injury stop me from playing field hockey, because field hockey's been my entire life, and I wasn't going to let it stop me from playing the sport that I love. So when it happened again, I was just like, I told myself I'm just got to work 10 times harder to get back and ready for the season. I didn't want to miss my senior season, so I was just motivated to work really hard to get back better than I was.
Has having the injury happen last season, has it kind of hindered you from going your hardest? Do you feel a little bit held back because you don't want to injure it again? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I, like our assistant would say, I go balls to the walls. Nothing is holding me back. I'm not even thinking about it. I don't have any problems with it. It's just like a normal knee.
In the beginning of the season, I know that you were showingly frustrated that you weren't scoring as much, but you led the team in assists. What changed from the beginning of the season till now? You had a hat trick against Mercyhurst. Was it something within you that clicked, or was it just something that Marcy did in terms of changing up the starting lineup on a forward line?
I think it was basically partly changing up the positions on the forward line, as well as the team working together better as a unit on the field and using each other, and that helped us get the ball up to the front. And I was just tired of not scoring and just had that burst in me, and once I scored, I was like, there's no turning back.
Tell me the chemistry that you and Anna have on the front line. You guys work so well together, and tell me how she's able to find you on different parts. You assisted all 3 of your goals Saturday against Mercyhurst. Tell me about that relationship.
Anna has really, really good game sense, and we're comfortable with each other on the field that, like, she doesn't even have to look up. She knows where I'm going to be going. It's kind of just knowing where to give the ball and where I'll be.
As a leader on the team, what do you bring differently to the team than Erin does or than Ellie does?
I would just say that I'm a really good role model on and off the field. I'm not afraid to give our players constructive criticism because I'm only trying to make our players better and work as hard as I know they can. But overall, I mean, all 3 of us are great leaders on and off the field. Moving
forward, how do you plan to prepare your team for PSAC playoffs this year?
Just keeping up the morale, coming off that win, working hard at practice, just keeping everyone in a positive mindset, and just giving 110% in our practices. How do you plan on,
if you guys are in positions where you're down by 2 goals or down by 3 goals, how do you plan to keep that energy up and keep that momentum in your favor so that the team as a whole does not have a letdown? Just retaliating. With, if another team scores, like, we want to get that goal back. Like, we don't want them to have that satisfaction of scoring or having that goal. So basically just, if we score, I usually say to the team, I'm like, keep your heads up, the game's not over, let's score, type of thing. Do you like this PSAC now? I mean, last year was different where it was the West and the East. Do you like it now that it's combined and the top 6 teams go, or do you prefer last year's? I really like this year's. It's much better, and I think that it will give us a better opportunity to make it to the finals. Did you find it frustrating how in the beginning those games didn't really even count towards the conference? Did you feel that those games were basically practice to get you prepared? Yeah, that's exactly what I felt like. I thought it was perfect because being such a young team and having new starters on the field, it was a great way for us to,
practice working together and getting to know each other as players.
Last question, how do you feel that you improved as a player?
I've improved as a player by being more vocal on the field, keeping up that aggressiveness, again, that role model aspect to our younger players, and just really stepping it up.
Thanks, Jamie, for joining me.
You're very welcome.
And now we'll take it back to Adam.
Thank you once again, Imani Ferguson and Jamie Koenig, as obviously some great things working out for Koenig and the team, working well together with Anna Bayman. On that note, we talk about our two field hockey players of the week, as we have here every week here on the Golden Bear Beat. With the teams, we like to give two athletes of the week. As mentioned, Koenig's hat trick. Anna Bayman, as you heard from Imani, assisting on all three Koenig goals. Those two working very well together in a tense back-and-forth game. It was a 9:30 a.m. game in Erie, Pennsylvania. The team had to travel the day before, and you had to do that in homecoming. Obviously, Mercyhurst was amped up, able to score 4 goals, so amped up from that game, but KU fought tit for tat with them and got the victory. Moving forward, coming up for this Saturday, another battle on the road for the Golden Bears as they face off against Bloomsburg University, a team that is now 6-4 on the season, 2-1 in PSAC play. I asked Coach Schuing her thoughts on going up against Bloom with a week to prepare.
Really focusing on the fitness. Bloom has a game today. Like I said, we have off again this week. So really focusing on the fitness, but also focusing on getting those forwards. We have an entirely basically new forward line now with Courtney Ubroth up there too. So Courtney, Anna, and Jamie, really getting them to work together and getting the middies to be able to see them and distribute to them so that they can finish, because we finally feel like we have, a forward line in place that is just going to, produce some goals for us. So we're excited.
And that was talking to Coach Schuing yesterday afternoon. So that game that Bloomsburg played ended up being yesterday was a victory against East Stroudsburg. So a team that 6-4 overall, 2-1 in the PSAC. Remember, KU lost to Bloomsburg 5-0 at home in one of the quote-unquote +4 games that didn't officially count towards the standings. But KU now opening up that offense, having a week to prepare. They should be much better equipped against Bloomsburg, albeit on the road. How things may change sometimes. You might be more prepared on the road than at home, but that's the way this season panning out for the Golden Bears. But that's not even their biggest game of the upcoming week. They will have number 1 Shippensburg coming up this Tuesday on the Golden Bear Network, 7 p.m. KU was 3-0 when they lost at Shippensburg in one of those +4 games. Obviously now 5-4 overall, 2-1 in conference play. Shippensburg is 11-0. 4-0 in conference play. They will try to make it 12-0 going into the game against Kutztown with a 5-0 conference mark. Again, that is Tuesday, 7 p.m. What does Coach Schuing think about this matchup against the Red Raiders?
We're actually excited to get Ship here. It was a 4-0 game out there, but their surface is extremely different than ours, and it was really early in our season. So I think it's going to be a much closer game. I think it'll be, we'll give them a push, and with Anna back and with our, new forward line that we've been talking about, I think we'll be more offensive against Shippensburg as well, because their goalie's not one of the better goalies in the PSAC. So I think if we test her, we can finish some on her.
Another factor for Kutztown will be how they defend the Red Raiders. They were focusing a lot on the key player for Ship in Bree White last time. Coach says that they're going to try some things different in terms of how they try to attack Shippensburg defensively. And she also did say key will be for the team to try and get past the aggressive Bloomsburg front line, because they can defend well as well. So if Kutztown's trying to clear and distribute the ball to the midfield and then to the forwards, you can see the Shippensburg forwards and midfielders get very aggressive, steal the ball back, and try and push it up front to get a goal. So those will be some of the schematics that will be at play coming Tuesday, 7 p.m. Again, that will be on the Golden Bear Network. You can go on to kubears.com to find out how you can listen live to that huge game. We're going to step off to a quick break here on the Golden Bear Network. When we come back, though, we have women's soccer to talk about, golf, cross country, tennis, and more. We'll talk about two more PSAC Athletes of the Week, and we'll hear from another one as she commented on winning that award and talking about how her offense is leading a 6-game winning streak. You can kind of get the hints from there, but we'll step off for now as you're listening to the Golden Bear Beat on KUR. And back here on the Golden Bear Beat, Adam Dobrovolsky, your host. Let's continue on here on the show as while field hockey had themselves a PSAC Athlete of the Week, so did KU women's soccer as the Golden Bears continue a strong few weeks. So they began a winning streak September 18th against Seton Hill, winning 2-0. After that, 3-0, 2-0, 3-1, 2-0. This past Saturday against Lock Haven, KU continued with just that as they got themselves a 3-0 victory over the Bald Eagles on the road in a Saturday afternoon game. Diana Malenga, a goal in the 31st minute, unassisted, knocked in a rebound on a shot from Sam Costello. It wasn't on target. It actually hit the crossbar. If that shot's on target, well, that would be another assist for Sam Costello, but she's going to get on the scoreboard anyway and get in the statistical sheets anyway. In the 55th minute in the second half, Logan Kramer receives a cross from Sam Costello. Kramer puts it into the upper corner for a goal to make it 2-0. Then in the 80th minute, Sam Costello, unassisted, gets a loose ball and makes the shot from 10 yards. And because of the goal and assist for Costello, not only is she one of our two PSAC athletes, or our women's soccer athletes of the week, she is also named PSAC Athlete of the Week. Talking first to head coach Eric Burstein, his thoughts on the win against Lock Haven.
Good. It's a tough place to play. We went there 2 years ago and lost 1-0, and we never looked like we were even involved in the game. But from the start, a little slow as we've been in the first 5 or 10 minutes. But once we settled in, found a bit of a rhythm, I thought we took control of the game and played very, very well for about 80, 85 minutes of it. And the second half was excellent. We really eliminated all of their attacking threats, and we were able to put a lot of pressure on their back line, and were able to get 2 very good goals.
As for Sam Costello, the junior from New Jersey, we got her thoughts on winning PSAC Athlete of the Week.
It's a great honor, but I got to owe it to my teammates too. Without them, I wouldn't have gotten it. So without them following up on shots and whatnot, I wouldn't have gotten it.
It's been a collective team effort, as Sam has mentioned. Players are really starting to step up, like Logan Kramer, like Diana Malenga, like some of the younger players, Caitlin Jaxheimer, Megan Frailer. It goes on and on. Ruby Mink, Taylor Higgins. This is a deep team. And Sam talked about just the offense overall clicking.
Well, it's definitely the new system that we've been playing in. I think we've had tremendous success with it. And it shows, we're on a winning streak, and all our forwards have been scoring goals. And not just me, but we have freshmen scoring, sophomore scoring. So it's really nice to, kind of have that variety of different players.
So this Kutztown team really starting to get things going. A 6-game winning streak for the Golden Bears. And they will hope to continue it as they have 2 road games coming up this following week. Do want to mention our second Women's Soccer Athlete of the Week. How about Kim Nail? She's moved into the lineup for the last 2 starts into the defensive backfield because Alyssa Donahue unable to play, but the team's had 2 shutouts, and she's been on the field for all but 6 minutes. So Kim Nail, you just continue to see these Golden Bears plug the new player in the lineup, or plug the new player in off the bench in a rotation, and the play is not dropping off. They're continuing to play strong. Golden Bears will look to make it a 7-game winning streak this Saturday at 1:30 p.m. against Mansfield, a team that is 3-6-1 in conference play, 4-6-1 overall. These teams have had the same 10 PSAC opponents so far. KU won 3-1 at Mansfield last year, and Kutztown looking for their longest unbeaten stretch since going 7-0-2 from October 6, 2010 to November 2nd. Talking to head coach Eric Burstein, he talked about the matchup and the mentality for the Golden Bears moving forward to this game.
They're a lively team. I mean, we just have to come with the right attitude to not underestimate them. I mean, it's very easy to look online and see where they sit in the conference standings, but in this conference, that means nothing. So, we have to just continue to take it one game at a time. Our biggest right now, our biggest challenge is dealing with our own players and our own minds. We have to know that every game is different. We got to make sure that we come out with the intensity and focus to play every single game. And if we do that, I'm not sure we're going to lose too many more.
There will be one more game this upcoming week, and this one should be interesting, as Slippery Rock, a top 25 team that has a very strong mark on the season, SRU, really having just a great back and forth with Kutztown over the past 2 years. 2 years ago, KU defeated the Rock in the PSAC Championship Tournament, reached the final game where they lost to California. The Rock got their revenge, defeating Kutztown in the NCAA tournament. Then Kutztown last year, home against Slippery Rock, able to get a 3-1 victory. So really some back and forth between these two teams, but Slippery Rock overall on the season 6-2-1. They have a 5-2-1 PSAC mark. Against common opponents, Slippery Rock has still to play Bloomsburg and Lock Haven tomorrow and Saturday, which Kutztown defeated both of them. They're 6-0. In common games for Slippery Rock is 2-1-1 with 2 left to play. But if Kutztown can get wins against both Mansfield and Slippery Rock, they would tie a school record for an 8-game winning streak set September 13th, 2008 to October 7th, 2008, and then back in 2004 from September 22nd to October 20th. Coach Burstein broke down the matchup against Slippery Rock.
When I started here, Slippery Rock had always had the better of Kutztown, and then as I've been here now 7-8 years, we've had a really good run of success against them, with the exception of the NCAA tournament. So this has become a pretty good rivalry, a game a lot of people attend, a game a lot of people follow, online. So this will be a very, very, very tough game away. But you know what? I'm very confident in it. I have a great deal of respect for their coaching staff and their program, and I think that we're two of the better teams, not only in the conference but in the country. So I think this will be a very, very good game for people to watch, and a very good game to be a part of if you're a player or a coach.
Boy, it should be fun, and by the time we get to next Saturday against Cal, another ranked team, this could be a Golden Bears team that is looking to set some school history. Moving forward, we look at KU Golf and the women's golf team last year, very successful winning tournaments. Well, they get their first notch on the belt this year as they win the KU Fall Invitational, the first of 8 teams. A team 673 that included Madison Halsey earning PSAC Athlete of the Week in golf for her victory, having the best score against the rest of the competition, a 163 combined, including a round best 80 in the second day. So congratulations to her, and with a busy week, she'll continue to hopefully move forward into Friday and Saturday's Invitational at Seton Hill, looking to hopefully continue that. You also had a top 5 performer in Lauren Smith, a 168. Finishing it off for the match-winning Golden Bears, Jackie Clifton, a 171. The freshman Madison Beer, 172. And Devin Everett with a 183. Also of note, KU had a maroon team finish 6th. That was the remaining 4 KU golfers. Krista Golden with a 180, Kelly Quigley with a 189, Lauren Sopka 192, Stephanie Altman a 214. As mentioned, this upcoming Friday, they'll continue their season at the Seton Hill Invitational. They're getting very close to the PSAC Championships in Hershey, PA, so expect to hear for some of the Golden Bears and from head coach Robert Fisher moving forward as well. Also coming up shortly in terms of the PSAC Championships, you have cross country shortly coming up, and with pun intended, Kutztown headed to the Paul Short Invitational this past Saturday. But the real big headline of this meet was, unfortunately, the heat. It didn't really fall in favor of any of the runners, to say the least, when you have temperatures not just hot but very humid Saturday, and it was a challenge for both the men's and the women's cross-country teams. The men finished 34th of 46 teams, and when you have Zach Fleming finishing 6th among the Golden Bear runners, you can tell weather played a big factor. Zach usually in the running in the top 10 or 20 And especially with a meet like this, Division I, Division II, Division III schools, he really could have had a memorable performance. But sometimes when you're a runner, if it's just too hot, there's nothing much you can do about it except try to finish as strong as possible, and you had that showing from the Golden Bears. Jake Austin finished tops among the Golden Bears in 80th. On the women's side, the Golden Bears finished 20th of 45 teams, had Jamie Daly finish 56th, and Frances McNally finished 66th for a team of 542. But this was something that kind of had the weather play a larger impact than anyone would have wanted, let alone the Golden Bears. Head coach Ray Hoffman talked about that weather.
Well, I feel like the teams were prepared, but unfortunately the weather really didn't cooperate. It was pretty bad where the heat spiked up to about 85 degrees or so with very, very high humidity. So it really kids really suffered out there. I think there were some articles in the Morning Call about it. They had over 150 kids that had to get medical attention. They had 50+ athletes in the hospital. So I think things were all over the place depending on what athletes were affected on your team. Some teams had their number 1, 2 runners, affected. Some teams, maybe their 6, 7 runners. For us, on the women's side, we had 4 of our top 7 girls couldn't finish the race. The heat just got to them so bad that, dehydration, set in, heat exhaustion, things along those lines. On the men's side, our number 1 runner, Zach Fleming, same thing happened to him where he ended up being our number 6 guy, and a couple other guys suffered too. So, it's a meet that we really like to get prepped up and run well for, and they were ready to go. But with the cool weather and then all of a sudden spiking up to 85, it just really affected them badly.
So the Golden Bears, all they can do now, churn forward and prepare themselves for this Saturday's meet at the DeSales Invitational in Center Valley, PA. Talking to Coach Hoffman, obviously a big key for these runners is getting themselves back in shape and have that midweek preparation going. I talked to him yesterday before they had themselves a big practice to set things up for this meet, and he talked about the midweek prep.
The best thing that they could have done and that they did was, first they just have to make sure they're hydrating well, getting electrolytes back in their system here, staying off their feet, relaxing Saturday and Sunday. We usually get together as a team, do our long runs on Sunday, and we had to kind of change that around a little bit because they just weren't recovered and ready to do that. Right now, being midweek, we'll kind of see today if they're recovered from everything. We have a pretty big workout here today. We had a group go early this morning, and they did a phenomenal job, so hopefully the rest of the group will follow this afternoon. But, this will be basically our last regular season meet as a group. And then we'll have a few kids probably competing at Lafayette the following week. So we'd like to try to get one really good meet under our belt before the conference championships.
One final thing, I asked from Coach Hoffman his thoughts just scouting the course, what to expect. Is this going to be able to help out the power runners? Is it a very hilly course? Is it a flat course? He scoped it out for us.
It's a fair course where you have some flat areas, you have some rolling areas, so it's basically a true cross-country course. It'll cater to both the middle distance runner that, mid-race can get spinning a little bit, and, the strength runner where at the end of the race you have some pretty big hills that you're going to be running up and stuff. But, looking at the weather, too, the weather is supposed to be great this weekend, so it should be some ideal conditions, so we should be ready to roll.
That will be, again, at the DeSales Invitational. It's on the DeSales University campus in Center Valley, PA. Moving forward now to Kutztown volleyball. The Golden Bears had 3 matches this past week, all against PSAC East teams. This past Friday against Lock Haven, KU lost in 3 sets, 25-18, 25-19, 25-17. One of those top 3 teams expected to be out east. The second of those 3 teams, UPJ. Kutztown had a great first set victory, 25-12, but after that, UPJ was able to get control of the match, 25-18, 25-18, and 25-20 for the victory. KU, though, would bounce back against East Stroudsburg Tuesday as they got their first East Division victory, now 3-4 and conference play overall as they swept the Warriors in 3 sets, 26-24, 25-17, 25-15. Kutztown 9-9 overall, 3-4 in conference play. Talking to head coach John Gump, he talked about the Golden Bears and trying to get themselves all set up for the upcoming matches, and as well as getting themselves, kind of bouncing back from the past week of matches. First, we talked about the past weekend matches against Lock Haven and Pitt Johnstown.
Well, on the positive side, I thought we played much better in the second match against Pitt Johnstown than we did on Friday night against Lock Haven, which is always nice to see. It's always, as much as you don't want to have to bounce back from defeats, it's nice when you see your players be able to come back the next day and come back with a strong effort against two really, really solid teams.
Meanwhile, you had the team be able to churn forward, get a good game against East Stroudsburg, but coming up this weekend, this Friday on the Golden Bear Network at 7 p.m., KU Volleyball hosting Millersville. The Marauders 5-9 overall, 2-5 in PSAC play. Millersville swept Kutztown last year, and both games went 5 sets. So far, no common opponents between these two teams. Then on Saturday at 1 p.m., you have Kutztown going up against Shippensburg, who's 11-6 overall, 4-3 in the PSAC with one conference match left to go. Talking to head coach John Gump, he talked about the upcoming weekend.
Shippensburg was the preseason pick to win the East. They're a very talented team, a lot of veteran players that have played at a very high level. Probably have the best player in the division in Jill Edwards. They're a game ahead of us in the standings. Millersville's just behind us. So these are big matches for us because we need to get some wins at home if we put ourselves in position to kind of solidify a playoff spot.
Last year, Shippensburg swept Kutztown, a 4-set and a 3-set victory. Kutztown, though, with a decent common opponent record, 2-3. Shippensburg 1-3 at this point right now, but there will be some common opponents to be had. With Millersville, Shippensburg actually did get a victory to go to 2-3, and then I believe East Stroudsburg, so Kutztown 3-3 with actually one left. I stand corrected, updating my own notes here. We move on forward now to looking at this volleyball team getting into a rhythm of game plan. You're now into week 3 coming up into PSAC. Coach Gump talked about just the overall rhythm of the team, especially the younger players and game planning.
Yeah, I think especially we have so many young players who've never been through it. They're starting to get a little bit of a comfort with how the weeks go. Although this past week was a little bit different because of the Tuesday night match, so a short prep for that, and then after this weekend we get back into a crossover situation where we got to prepare for 4 matches. But we're kind of getting the feel for it. Preparing, looking at tape, putting together a match plan, and then we hope being able to come out and execute the things we want to do when match time rolls around.
Moving forward now as we close out the show with KU women's tennis. This past Friday they lost to Mercyhurst 9-0. Saturday against Edinboro 7-2. Of these don't officially count into the PSAC standings as it's East versus West. In Saturday's match against the Fighting Scots, Chelsea Davis and Alyssa Konis earned a doubles victory. Tori Zander earned a singles victory. Women's tennis will continue their season as they will have a non-conference match Friday against LaSalle, 3 p.m. Go out to the Keystone Courts to check it out. And Saturday, the men's tennis team will be at LaSalle. That is an 11 a.m. match. That will do it here for this edition of the Golden Bear Beat, as Adam Dobrovolsky signing out for now. Next week, we'll have ourselves another strong show. We have plenty more things to talk about in Kutztown University athletics, looking ahead to the PSAC championships and golf, and much more. We'll be hearing about more great stuff coming up for Kutztown athletics, perhaps maybe a continuing winning streak for the Golden Bears women's soccer team, some big matches we'll have a recap on for KU field hockey. All that and more is coming up. But until next time, you gotta chant as you always do, go Bears go.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. Make sure to stay updated on everything involving Kutztown University athletics at KUBears.com and tune in for weekly broadcasts every Thursday at noon on KUR.